Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Hopefully, we are having a good day to this summit. It's going so quick, do you not think? I literally am running around everywhere without moving from this chair. It's a very surreal experience. We are ready to introduce our next speaker. She is an experienced designer, speaker, and facilitator. She's founded Better Than Small Talk and Bay Area Black Designers, which was profiled in Forbes. She is a prolific gatherer and facilitator with 20 years experience running community groups where people connect authentically. Her debut book, We Should Get Together, is helping adults around the world create fulfilling friendships at last. Please give a big CMX Summit welcome to Kat Vellos.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for the beautiful, beautiful welcome, Valentina. It is really awesome to be here. I'm so excited. CMX Summit has been amazing, and I'm really excited to share this time with you. So as we get started, I want to go ahead. This talk is all about friendship. So let's go ahead and get warmed up in the chat. Go ahead and type into the chat the first name of some friend that you feel really close to. Like the first person who comes to mind, you're like, that's my homie. Yes, love it. Dalal, Kara, Samara, CP, Yvonne, awesome. Fill them up. And also type into the chat the first name of a friend that you wish you were closer to. So maybe they're an acquaintance or a new friend or someone that you just really, really wish you were closer to. Awesome. Love it. Emily, Ola, Faye, Jessica, Dara, Michelle. Love, love, love. Love to see it. This is really important. I want you to keep these people in your mind as we go through today's presentation, because you will be thinking about ways that you can get closer to that friend that you are already tight with and that friend that you want to be closer to. Each one of them is special, as are all of you. And today, in this talk about friendship, I'm going to open up with a story from my book, We Should Get Together, and it's about a woman that we'll call Nina. So Nina grew up on the East Coast of the United States, and she, after college, she tried a bunch of different. She never quite felt at home at any of those new places she went to. She couldn't quite make friends there or settle in, so she decided to move to the West Coast, start a fresh life. She came to San Francisco. That's where I live. I'm here in the Bay Area, in the East Bay, San Francisco. And out here, Nina tried a lot of things to make new friends. She has been having a hard time, and it has been a struggle. So one of the things she tried was going to classes and workshops where she could, learn new skills and meet friendly new people. And at the classes, she might banter or have chit chat with people. But at the end of the class, they would just go their separate ways. It wasn't like they were trading phone numbers and becoming best buddies. And another place she tried to make friends was at work. But Nina kind of works alone. So her interactions with people are very surface, a little transactional. She might have a good conversation, but more than likely, it's just a one-off. So it's not like ongoing, and she's not really part of a team. There's other people she works with, but she's not like in a team unit. So at work, she does not have any access to close friends. And she also tried going to meetups. So she went to a women's meetup. It sounded perfect. It was for single women and who were like active in their community. So she went there. She met other nice women, but it didn't work out because the other women there were either not quite at her life stage. They were like either 10 years younger, like maybe early 20s, wanting to party a lot, or they were like in their 40s and more settled down. And so it was hard for her to find other women in her 30s who wanted also to be close friends. So sometimes she met other women in their 30s, but they already had a friend group and they were not really looking to add someone new to it. So Nina was like, oh, what do I do? And the last place that Nina has had a hard time connecting is actually at home. So she has a roommate who's also in her 30s, and they get along okay, but they don't have chemistry. So they're not vibing. And so this is not a meaningful friendship either. So let me know in the chat if any of this sounds familiar to you. If you've ever felt like Nina in some way, go ahead and say in the chat, like, which part of her story did you identify with? Is it the new city struggle? Is it the meetup struggle? Is it the feeling alone at work thing? Is it the roommate disconnect? Like, what part of that is real? I see some people saying, yes, new city struggle. You can feel that. I know what it's like. So Nina feels stuck. She is in her 30s. She's in a cool city. She's a cool person, but she feels pretty alone most of the time. She doesn't really know what to do. And sometimes she blames herself. She feels like she's doing something wrong and it's just her. And what I told Nina in our interview was like, Nina, you are not alone. And this is also not her real name, also for privacy. I was like, you are not alone. And if you feel like Nina, I also want you to know that you are not alone. In the United States, and before the COVID pandemic even broke out, approximately 60% of Americans reported feeling lonely on a regular basis. And there was a really big study on loneliness that was done by Cigna, and they found that if you pick any 4 people off the sidewalk, when it comes to feelings of emotional connection, close friendship, at least 1 out of 4 people feels like there is nobody in their life who really understands them. So this is pretty common. Since the pandemic broke out, some of those numbers have actually leveled off. So those stats haven't been getting worse this year, which is pretty amazing when you think about it, because we've been socially distant and physically distant, but we've sort of plateaued. And part of that is because in shelter in place or quarantine, people have been reaching out to each other more, increasing that frequency of connection, which is great. But we know for sure that the pandemic did not solve the loneliness epidemic. We just have a different kind of isolation now because of physical distance, which of course is necessary to control this virus, and that's real. But it's been a challenge, and I get that. And I'm really motivated to help you solve that. So as I mentioned, one of the benefits of this pandemic is that it's shown people how important human connection really, really is. So that's one upside, is that it's top of mind for everybody and more people are open to talking about it now. So I'm going to tell you about the flip side of Nina's story. And I'm going to tell you about 3 other people and what their friend life is like. The first is Marion. Marion is a retired grandmother. She was feeling pretty lonely, kind of on her own and kind of distant because her kids are all grown up. They moved away. And so she was feeling, kind of on her own. She's loved being a mom. She loves being a grandma. And their kids weren't around. But nowadays, Marion is actually a surrogate grandma and surrogate mom to a couple of other women and their kids, and they fill her life with this sense of ongoing connection and closeness, and all that good mama energy and grandma energy has a place to go now. She has a place to give it. The second person I'm going to tell you about is Jim. Jim has something very unique. Whenever he wants someone to talk to, he has multiple guys that he feels comfortable being vulnerable with. He's on touch with them on a regular basis. He can talk to them about family, relationships, work life, his emotions. He can cry, he can be goofy, he can be angry, he can be anything. And he knows that these guys have his back no matter what. And the third person I'm going to tell you about is Angelica. Angelica, she's young, she's a busy videographer, she travels a lot for work, and whenever she meets somebody new, it's like, boom, it happens. Her friends stick to her like Velcro. When I did my survey on friendship and community for my book, she had some of the highest scores that I've ever seen for satisfaction when it came to friendship and community. And I was like, what does she have going on? I'll tell you about it. So Jim, Marion, and Angelica, let me know in the chat whose situation you wish that you could bring a little bit more of into your life. You're like, ooh, I like what they have going on, actually. I would love a little bit more of that energy. For me, if I had to pick, it would probably be a little bit more like Jim, because I really like that group thing he has going on. It sounds really consistent. And so, yeah, that sounds really awesome. So let me know in the chat who you're feeling. A lot of people like Jim too. Nice. All right. So Jim, Marion, and Angelica are not magic. They have just figured out that there was one thing standing between them and the friendships that they wanted. And it's this: words or actions, sometimes both combined. I'm going to tell you in detail about that in a second, but for now, Marion, Jim, and Angelica, they're going to go grab a coffee together, and I'm going to give you some more context for this, because I want you to know that if you want to have a better life, focusing on having better friends should be at the top of your priority list, and I'll tell you why. So first is, researchers at Michigan State University have found that when it comes to emotional well-being and actually physical well-being, like your health, when you have really strong friendships in your life, and this is truer as you get older as well, if you have strong friendships, it outperforms having close family relationships. This is a shocker, especially in our culture that puts family above everything else. But for anybody who has ever had a complicated family relationship, you know that your friendships are often less stressful and more enjoyable and easier to roll with than some of your family members. So, secondly, I want you to know that friendship matters more than money. Researchers at the University of London found that when a person moves away from a place where they had like really thriving, like face-to-face interactions with friends and community, maybe family too, when they had this really strong community and they move away, in their new location, while they're there, they're going to have to earn an extra $133,000 over that time to make up for the loneliness and disconnection that that relocation caused them. They've actually quantified how much that is. So if you want to improve your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health, and to feel like you got a six-figure raise, just focus on improving your friendships. So now before you get stressed out and think that this means you need to like have some kind of massive friend circle with like tons and tons and tons of people, just slow down, take a deep breath, relax. You don't need a million friends. Evolutionary anthropologist Robin Dunbar has found, so Dunbar is famous for Dunbar's number, if you've ever heard of it, but Dunbar wants you to know that it's okay to focus on your inner circle. So this is the 3 to 5 people who are your emotional, intimate people. So these are people that you feel close with, that you feel safety, belonging. You know that they're not going to be weirded out if you start crying. You can call them in an emergency. You know that whether you have to celebrate or whether you're struggling, they're going to accept you. They are going to care about you no matter what. Good times, bad times. They're there for you and you're there for them. If you have these people in your life, I want you to focus on them. And if you're starting from scratch, you're like, oh, I don't even have 3 to 5 people, then just know that your goal is just to aim for 3 to 5 people. And then from there, you can kind of branch out. But it's really this very small number of people that are going to provide the majority of your connection and your friendship support through the bulk of your life. So over the long haul, that's really all you got to do. So level up some acquaintances or make some new friends that are going to be on that same level with you. Also, this isn't just about what you're going to get from your friends. This is also about what you're going to give to them. Because friendship is a two-way street. It's about what you give as much as what you get. So if you want that emotional support, acceptance, that friendship that you want to receive, focus on giving that, because it's one of the best ways to demonstrate what kind of relationship you want to have and to model what you're hoping your friends give to you too. So that trust, care, reciprocity, commitment. Got it? Got it. Let me know in the chat you've got that. Okay. So let's go back to Marion, Jim, and Angelica. So these were the 3 people. Their friend life basically looks like the show Friends. It's like they're like movie star people who have like perfect friend life. And they're not like magical people, as I mentioned. They're not millionaires. They're not bribing their friends. They have just done something that made them win the friendship lottery. I'm going to break it down for you. Remember before, it was words or actions, sometimes both. So Marion, when she felt lonely as a retired empty nester, I mean, her story just blew my mind and warmed my heart. What she did was she used her words. She got really vulnerable, really bold, really generous, and really, really honest. So she wrote down a few sentences about what her feelings were and what she had to offer and what she was looking for. And she was very, very specific. She posted these words on an app called Nextdoor, which exists to connect neighbors with each other. And she said something like, my kids are all grown up and moved away. I still have a lot of mom and grandma love to give. I would love to meet younger women or moms who want some supportive mom energy in their life or some grandma energy for their kids. And she posted it just to see what would happen. And she got tons of replies from women who had either lost their mothers or didn't feel close to their moms, like they just didn't get along, or women whose moms lived in other states, and for that reason, their kids didn't really have a grandma in their life on a regular basis. And these women wanted that intergenerational support, and they wanted like a mother figure in their life, and they believed that you can have chosen family members that you just add to your life through care and attention. And so they wanted some of that too. And so Marion met with a few different women, and whoever felt like a fit, she would follow up with her words and be consistent in her actions to make sure that she was staying close to these new people who became her chosen family members. And some of them are, like I said, a regular part of Marion's life now, and it really brings her a lot of joy. So all she did was use her words, and like the gift, she led with what she had to offer. So she wasn't asking for something, she was offering something to her community. Secondly, we're going to talk about Jim. So Jim is somebody who has always cared about personal development. So he reads a lot of personal development books, he goes to therapy, he's trying to become a better person all the time. It's like a really cool quality about him. But that often felt like a solo experience. Is there anybody else in the crowd who does that? Like you're reading all the self-improvement books, but it feels like you're kind of working on yourself alone. He got tired of that. And so he sought out a men's group so he could talk to other men about his experience, like trying to be a better dude. It's called the Mankind Project. And he's been meeting with his Mankind group at least once a month for over 10 years. This is consistent action. So he's wanted to keep this in his life, no matter how many countries. He has moved multiple countries, changed jobs, changed relationships. But the one thing that's been consistent in his life is this Mankind group. It's like the epitome of dedication. He's like, nope, I have group that night. I'm always going to show up for group meeting. And so because of that, him and all the other guys in the group get this mutual benefit because they're giving each other that dedicated action over years. Third, we had Angelica. So she's the one who's like meeting interesting people on a regular basis. She probably like a lot of us. She's friendly, she's outgoing. Even at an event like this, she might meet somebody cool, but then a lot of times they just slip away. But her friends are sticking to her like she's Beyonce or something. But it's not because she's a person. She has done one action so many times that it comes naturally now and it never feels awkward. When she meets somebody like-minded and they feel an instant connection, she uses her words and she asks them, do they want to hang out again? And when they say yes, she literally pulls open her calendar and she picks a date with them. She doesn't let it slip away. And because of that, she makes it real. When there's that strong mutual excitement, when you meet somebody new, it's like, you're awesome, you're awesome. She'll literally say, cool, like talk to you tomorrow. And then they laugh. And she's like, no, really, I have time tomorrow. Do you want to talk tomorrow? Let's have a conversation, because she makes time for it. She's also super aware that people are drawn to novelty and new things. Like new things are more exciting than old things. And so she builds on that momentum and that excitement that comes with making a new acquaintance to really lock it in. So she goes with that energy and she grabs it before it slips away. And when she does that, she's also really, really open with her life. So she has a lot of hobbies, activities. She goes to a ton of events, and she will just invite her new acquaintances to come with her. She's like, oh, I'm doing a thing on Tuesday. I'm coming on Friday. Do you want to come to this workshop with me? And because her life is really open, she's sharing a lot of experiences with people. And research shows that shared experiences are one of the best ways to bond with a new friend or an existing friend. So she's flexible with her availability, and she's giving people lots and lots of access points to reach her and to become a part of her life. And because of that, you know, it never feels awkward. It never feels unusual. It's just her life. And consequently, her life is filled with friends. So right now, I would like you to take a deep breath, close your eyes, breathe all of that in. Think about all those beautiful examples. Think about what you would like to have in your life and how you want it to be even better than it is right now. And think about what you might need to use more of in your own life. Is it words or is it actions? And you can type in the chat if you want to be bold and share it with all of us. You can write more words or more actions. Let us know. So Alana's going to take some actions. Yes. Who else? Are you going to use words or actions? Renee is taking action. Grace is taking action. Yasmin wants action. Carissa wants action. Liz, action. Caitlin, words. Nice. I have some good news for you. Awesome. I love the excitement here. And I'm going to help you all out. I'm going to give you a cheat sheet to break this down and make it really, really easy. So if you find that you have friends that you wish you were closer to, you're not as close as you really want to be, or you feel like you're kind of busy and you don't have a ton of time for a bunch of extra friendship activities, or if you have some friendships that are like withering away, they're in the background, you're like, oh, are we still friends? They're like slipping away. What you're going to do is you're going to use your words. And specifically, how I want you to use your words are you're going to appreciate, express, and request. So you can take a screenshot of this because it's going to be your homework. I want you to think of 3 ways that you can show your appreciation with your words, express your feelings for somebody, or make a clear request. And if on the other side, you want to make new friends, like the people that you vibe with, like they're just not in your life yet and you just want them to come around, or you have moved to a new city and you still feel kind of alone. You don't have your friends there. Or if you want to bring some like fresh energy and new life to your existing friendships, you're going to use your actions. So I saw a lot of you writing actions in the chat. And specifically your homework, and I want you to take a screenshot of this, is to attend, invite, participate, and facilitate. So look for places in your life that you can attend things, invite maybe some other people to attend with you, jump in, be a joiner, be a yes, and jump in, or maybe even facilitate some gatherings and special conversations for the people you care about. I want you to know that over the last 5 years, as I've been researching my first book, We Should Get Together, I spent just hundreds and hundreds of hours talking to people about their experiences of friendship and community. This whole journey started from my own experience when I moved to a new city and I knew that struggle. I came here, I had a backpack and a gym bag and a suitcase, and I didn't know anybody. And I was meeting cool acquaintances all the time, really lovely people, but it wasn't turning friendships. And I was really just like Nina was. And like a lot of people, you know, I was busy, seemed like everybody else was busy. Everybody's in a relationship, or I was in a relationship or dating, and everyone has to work a lot. I gotta work a lot. This is all true for everybody. All of these are challenges and they're real and they're not going away. So what we can do is actually focus on what we can change, what we can control. And those are our words and our actions. And taking action and using our words doesn't always mean that it's going to work perfectly with every single person that you try with. But the more times you try, the more wins you get. The braver you get, the luckier you get. The more invitations you extend, the more people say yes. But you got to put yourself out there and do it. So think back now to the names that you wrote into the chat at the beginning of this talk. So there was a friend you wanted to feel closer to, and a friend that you already feel close to. And I want you to make a decision right here, right now, today, about how you're going to use your actions or your words this week. Like, it is Wednesday. You have also 4 more days in this week, or you can go to next week, Wednesday. And I want you to make a decision about what you're going to do to strengthen your connection with both of those people. Okay? So you can do it. You can get 10 times closer to these people, and think about how that would improve both of your lives. Is it your words, your actions, or some combination of both? I know that if you do this, it's going to transform your friendships, and then that is going to transform your life. Whether you want to make new friends or connect more deeply with the people that you already know, you absolutely deserve it, and I know that you can do it. My name is Kat Vellos. I am the author of 2 books on adult friendship called We Should Get Together and Connected from Afar. We Should Get Together is available in the CMX bookstore, which is linked at the top of your screen in the virtual bookstore. Highly recommend checking it out. If you want to get closer to friends who are farther away, you can check out Connected from Afar. I'm really excited to hear what resonated with you from today's talk. Like, let me know in the chat if you had an aha, or if there's something that you're taking away that you're excited about, or if you have a question. We have time for questions here, and our lovely moderator can find those if you type them in the chat. I would love to stay in touch with you. I would love to connect with you. Head to my website or message me on Insta, whatever. Let's talk. I look forward to getting to know you, and I hope this was really helpful.
We'll give a big round of applause to Kat. Right. Well done. Here is your clapping in advance. I just knew how people would feel about this presentation. No, it was really great.
You,
so many light bulb moments. I'm sure a lot of other people will agree, and just making us think about our friendships. Because I think we have so much going on right now that we forget about certain things, you know, so it's really important to bring those up. Yes, we do have time for a few questions. If you have any questions, put them in the Q&A, so because the chat is moving very quickly, so it's hard to keep up with it, but I don't know if I can.
I love Yasmin's comment about the level of honesty and vulnerability that was required for a bunch of those examples. It's true. It's kind of an uncommon, very refreshing, actually, level of honesty and vulnerability. Yeah. I'm glad that was resonant with you.
Yasmin. We have 2 questions then. So Caitlin says, what advice do you have for those who move often, brackets military? Do you try to collect those friendships or let them go?
That's a really great question. I moved a lot as a kid as well, so I can definitely relate to that. And, you know, it's interesting. Not every friendship is meant to last your entire lifetime. If you think about every person you've ever known and ever been friends with, like, there wouldn't be enough time in the day to maintain like 350 friendships on like a super intimate level. So really prioritize and think about the people that you feel the closest to and that you really want to have in your life long term, and then check in with them and be like, I'm moving away. I know that often when people move away, friendships sometimes pull apart. And if this is something that you want to keep going, like, how can we do that together? How can that feel good to you? And invite that conversation, because, you know, it's possible to stay super close friends with someone that you don't live in the same city with. You know, one of my best friends, we lived in the same city for 3 years, and we've lived in separate cities for over 15 years. So it just depends on whether there's that mutual buy-in, and frequently that means having a conversation about what works on both sides.
Yeah, no, definitely. For me, like, I don't live in the country where I'm from, and I've traveled for 10 years. So I have a lot of friends all over the world, but I found it difficult to have friends in where I am. So you're constantly having to deal with long distance relationships, if that's the right way. And it's hard, and you have to put in work to make it happen. So yeah, completely see where you're coming from. All right, Simone says, what do you do when friends get into new relationships and they don't get back to you anymore?
Yes, I have a whole chapter, like 1/4 of my book is on this particular challenge of friendship during adulthood, when people get into relationships or even like start having kids, and then their availability really goes away. And so there's multiple ways you can do this. So one is to think about, I call it like a tripod, like a 3-sided kind of friendship awareness when you're dealing with a relationship, because it takes a lot of energy, and it doesn't mean relationships are bad. It just means that frequently the energy and time that a relationship takes up like actually does pull away from what's available for friendship. So I encourage folks who are in that situation to think about spending time with people that they knew before the relationship, that they met during the relationship, and that they hang out with one-on-one. And if you have a friend who is kind of feels like they're getting further away because, you know, they're with their new boo now and they're like hugged up at home, it's like, tell them, like, you know, not in like a guilt inducing, you know, where are you way, but just to say like, wow, I really love having you in my life. Here's a memory that I have from when we both, you know, spent a beautiful time together, and elicit that sense of like mutual positive energy around what the friendship has brought to you both, and say, you know, I'm available whenever you want to spend time together or connect, and be really specific. Be willing to say like, are you open to spontaneous, you know, phone calls? Are you open to eating dinner together from a distance one night a week, or even from video if they're far away? Do you want to say like, can we have a 20-minute call on Sundays while I fold my laundry every Sunday at 6 o'clock? Like, be really clear about what your access points are and how you're making yourself available to them. And to know like, it's not like faulting their relationship. Of course, you probably want to show that you're happy they're in love now. And to say like, here's how I want to reconnect with you too and hear what's happening in your life. Think about Marion and how she led with what she had to offer. Yeah.
All right, we have time for one more question. Mila says, what if you invest more, but the friends are not reciprocating?
Excellent question. Excellent question. This is something also that I write about in the Seeds of Connection section of my book, which talks about the aspects of healthy friendships, and reciprocity absolutely is one of them. So my question, if I was like coaching with this person about, you know, I would say like, where are you really being clear about what your expectations or hopes or requests are? Sometimes we kind of expect people to just like read our minds or like do the same thing that we want to do or love us the way we want to be loved. But sometimes you need to make a really clear request. Again, kind request, not guilt inducing, but just saying like, wow, you know, I would really love if, you know, you reached out to me. Like one example of this that I have with a friend is I reached out to one of my friends a lot. Like I was usually texting him first or trying to reconnect to get lunch or something. And I really wanted him to reach out to me sometimes. And I was like, how can I do this? So what we came up with was a code where it's an emoji code. We picked an emoji that neither of us ever really use. It's just like deep in the emoji library. And what that emoji means is whenever one of us sends that to the other person, it means I would like you to reach out to me. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, very subtle, very friendly, playful way to say, not only do I miss you, I want to reconnect with you, but I would like you to initiate hanging out with me. And so by doing that, it kind of like takes the pressure off, and it's just a really sweet way to be like, hey friend, come back. And so think about ways to have reciprocity in that relationship and to have a conversation about it. In a friendship, hopefully, if it's like feeling healthy and balanced, you can talk about what isn't working as well as what is, and make clear requests, just like you would in any other healthy relationship.
Well, that's a great idea, and never thought of that. And we're using emojis all the time to express how we feel. So this is great. I mean, there's so many out there. There's definitely a few emojis that I don't use that I could use.
Right? Like who's using the like fox emoji or like the hazelnut? They're the hazelnut emojis.
And
like,
they're creating new emojis.
You could use the dinosaur emoji.
You know, the world is your oyster, as they say. Well, we've run out of time. Kat, thank you so much for sharing all of that. You've definitely opened up our minds. How can people get in touch with you?
Yes, so I am pasting into the chat right now a whole bunch of ways people can stay in touch with me. If they want to hop on my newsletter, they can head to my website, We Should Get Together. I do a connection club once a week for people who want to, through writing, nurture their friendships. It's a beautiful circle for people way, people who care about friendship in an extrovert friendly way. I mix it up. We have a little bit of both. Message me. I'd love to hear from you. Come to my events and workshops at weshouldgettogether.com. I love talking about this and supporting folks in group programs, events, coaching, and workshops.
Perfect.
So reach out.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to be heading back over now to the main stage where Deepak Chopra is speaking about mindfulness and meditation. After that, we have some closing activities. We have a sign language class, we have a magic show, and we have a networking party, because the summit has come to an end, and I can't believe it. It's just gone so quick. So thank you so much for joining us here in this session. I will see you over in another session very shortly. Have a good rest of the time here at the summit, and I'll see you around. Bye for now.
See ya.